ready?
Yeah, I actually printed my agenda. I always print the agendas that I have it in a book.
Okay, here we go. I call to order the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, August 17, 2020 at 6 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Dear Father, thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you, my Father, that in spite of all that is going on around us in our country, in our state, and in our local level, my Father, you are still on the throne. You are still in charge, my Father, and we thank you, and I praise you for that, my Father. I pray, Lord, that you give us the guidance as a city council to make the right decisions for our residents, my Father. You know how you have, so far we are so thankful of the blessings that you have given Aransas Pass, and we pray and ask that through your guidance we will continue to move the city forward. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're going to go to presentations and proclamations. And this is a presentation update and discussion on demolition.
Mayor and City Council members, my name is Roxanne Paez-Cotroneo. I'm your Aransas Pass City Attorney, and I've got some really good news. You know, we're Aransas Pass strong, and even though the world may have stopped due to COVID, we just didn't stop here. We keep moving and tracking, and anybody who's been inside their house for the past few months, when they come outside and they take a look, they're going to be wowed by all the massive and major improvements that this council has made. And today is yet another one of those massive improvements that we're going to share with you. We've got another demo PowerPoint to show you. As you know, the council, when they hired your city attorney, you instructed, let's get some demolitions done. That was your main priority for me, and that has certainly been a priority for me as I come and visit with you. Your team that you've placed together to handle this is phenomenal. Whether it's been the city manager or the city secretary, it's truly the demolition team is made up of your phenomenal building official with certifications beyond one page. Could not do it without him. Of course, our code enforcement officer, Corey, and Tito are always fighting on the side to help us get these things done. And someone who I must recognize, I don't know if she's here today, it's Renee, our permit tech. She is definitely the document worker behind the scene, who without we certainly wouldn't be here either. So let's take a look. Demolitions. All right, the last time we did a PowerPoint presentation, believe it or not, was last Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Can you believe that much time has passed? The reason why we haven't done a more recent update, I guess, is because Christmas happened, and then January happened with February. And then on March the 16th, the whole world changed, and things shut down and slowed down just a little bit, not for us, but just a little bit. And our demo team was really full force back up again in July, well, late June, July, we started back up. So let's take a look. I know the PowerPoint presentation seems a little small. I don't know if we can get it bigger, because we're going to have some before and after pictures we need to take a look at. So this is going to be the presentation from December 18th. Through August the 17th. And as you recall, when you first hired, we first decided, well, how is our approach going to be? We talked about our toolbox being a meet and greet, citations could be issued, we could do a Building and Standards Commission board hearing, we could even go and forward on that civil lawsuit. The council instructed us, take a roll back, let's meet and greet these people first and find out what is their problem, what's their situation. It was the wisest thing this council did, because in it we found out so many interesting stories, and you're going to hear some of those today. So let's take a look. What is our magic number to date? 131.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Phenomenal, isn't
That's
it?
awesome.
And if we take a look, I want you to see in front of you is a big glorious map put together by your building official that puts a little knick-knack next to each demolition that's occurred in our city since we started. So many, it's hard to tell, huh? But as you can certainly see, we have concentrated in different parts of the city. As we found them, we dealt with them as quickly as possible. If we go to our next slide, you'll see that in this time period, more specifically though, one more, we've done a total of 28. 9 have actually been through some kind of actual force of the demolition team, and 19 have been either through the GLO requesting a demolition or through word of mouth getting around, that we were serious, and it's the domino effect of what we were implementing. So total of 28 for this year, not bad for a city our size. Let's take a look at the next slide. It's going to be 334 North 8th Street. This was a brother and sister, and they owned this together, right? It was inherited property. They lived out of town, and when we contacted them, they just said, we just don't know who to contact to make this kind of thing happen. So, we can't give you recommendations, but we can give you a list of demo contractors who've sought permits from the city, and when we sent them that list, it came down pretty fast. So, let's move on to the next one. 254 South 11th Street. This was actually 2 sisters that inherited this property, and they both lived out of town. This was a horrible story. They actually used to live in that structure when Hurricane Harvey came and tore it to pieces. And so they decided it was best for them to move to Beaumont.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, they were right next to the explosion that happened in Beaumont. So this family actually has had a lot of issues that they've had to deal with. But regardless, they worked with us and they took 254 South 11th down. We appreciate that. That just goes to show how strong we are. 328 South 11th. All right. This one we sent a meet and greet letter to. Didn't even have to meet them. They called us back and said, what do we got to do? We said, we got to demolish it. Done. It was done.
Good.
Yay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Let's move on to 427th North Commercial.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, the Oasis.
Oasis.
It's finally gone.
It's finally gone. And even the after picture's not the most recent. You have one most recent in front of you.
Yep, this one here.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. This one.
With the tractor that helped demolish it. All right, so now let's get to building something great on that. Oasis will become an oasis again. Moving on to 163 North Houston. Oh, this was a family affair. Uncles and brothers and nephews and nieces and sisters. I mean, it was, whew. We had to mediate through that situation. And it took likely more than one meeting. I'd say we probably met with them, about 5 times? Every 2 weeks? But we got the family to agree, and it's down. In fact,
Yes.
one of the owners is actually going to get a GLO house built. You like our stories?
Yes.
Yes.
You do? Okay, because I got more if you want me to keep going.
Keep going.
Let's take a look at 1020 Campbell. All right.
What's this one?
All right. They tore it down. They just forgot to take all the rest of the debris up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But this is what we call progress. And so we did speak to that property owner. He guaranteed that he'd have that up by the next time we meet with him on September the 7th. So to be continued on that one. 1126 South Campbell up. All right. Now, I know it looks like there's a horrible structure there, but the reality is there was a structure in front of it on the before that got torn down. And the structure that you see behind it is actually the neighbor's house. So they tore down the structure, and now we just got to see what's behind it, right? And so we'll move on from there. I will tell you that they tore it down. They still have high grass. We talked to them today. It's a brother and sister again. They inherited again. They told us that they were gonna clean up the rest of their lot, but we are going to the next property soon. 928 South Rife. Oh, this was a quick demo as well. We sent the letter. He called us. Very upset. What do you mean I have to get that down? Well, he did. He did it in less than 2 weeks. So, structure down and gone. Do y'all recognize these properties?
Some of them,
Some of
Some of
yes.
them you do? Okay, so you know. Let's go on to 434 South Whitney. This is my half
I
and
know
half.
that, yeah.
There was actually two structures on this. One was a structure that has been demolished. There's the before and after. But there is a second structure on there, and the second structure got fixed up to code. So if we'll turn to the next slide, there's the before and after on the shed. At least it's got new metal on it. I know it's not as beautiful, but you know, this is not so much about being beautiful as it is meeting building health standards.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here. Work in progress. Let's take a 219 West Stoddard. This is what you used to call lovingly the Dallas Cowboy Home. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
All right. This is an elderly couple. They're in their 70s. They're actually in Laredo today because they have family there. But the Laredo couple has fixed this up themselves. Can you believe that? 70s, and they did it themselves. That's not the most recent picture. The most recent picture for you is in front of you. I think it's cute. We in Aransas Pass provide all kinds of housing for all different needs of levels of need. And so I'm glad that we were able to get that one repaired as opposed to demolish. Let's take a look at some more continuing projects that we need to work on. You feel good so far?
Yes.
Progress, right?
Oh, yeah.
Progress. You know, and Councilmember Obrego's always driving me around saying, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? So hopefully, Councilmember Obrego, you're seeing the what abouts being done. Let's take a look at the next slide, this 251 South 9th. This was actually a couple that got divorced. And they were in the middle of the divorce. In fact, I think both of them actually are engaged now to different people. But the house is selling. And I think, we're going to have a new seller. And the new seller actually is the daughter of a realtor. So I really hope that's promising. And we'll get that repaired. The sale for that will be final this Saturday.
Good.
Oh, good.
All right, 229 West Myrtle. This property owner is not down yet. But it's because he's got to get all the crap in the inside out, he said. So he's been working on the inside. We're coming back to him on September 7th to see what progress he's made. So keep that one in mind. We'll catch you up. This next one really, really bugs me. It's 1234 West Wheeler. You know, we met with the property owner. You might know him. It's Keith Jacobs. He came in and he said that he had lost electricity after Hurricane Harvey and hadn't been able to get it up. So we moved into action fast, didn't we, Burl? I mean, we got this electric thing fixed and solved in just a couple of weeks. I think really, it was like really super fast. He had told us that if he got electricity, he'd be able to fix that thing up. Well, we got him electricity pretty fast, and we're still not there yet.
Is that the one in back of Wright Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
Exactly.
Okay.
We talked to him today. He said he's going to work on it, but I've been hearing that story a little too long now, so I'll have to figure out what to do next with that. But don't worry, something will be done. All right, 219 North 8. You're such a great man of white, Gary.
He didn't get that.
Much better looking. It's a husband and wife team. They assert they've spent $1,800 in dumpsters and they're still not done. Well, don't worry about that because the demo team's got a warrant. They're going to go out there and check it in, see what's going on in the inside of the grill.
Mercedes sure looks out of place.
Did I say that out loud? I wasn't supposed to say that, was I?
Okay.
Warrant coming. 712 South Whitney. This property actually just recently sold. Now, you see, we send these letters out, and sometimes the property owners are just like, nah, I'm going to sell it. And so that's a good thing, right? Maybe somebody's going to buy it, it's actually going to do something with it. And so we're hoping for that. 1414 Highway 35. You know it is bipolar.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, you know, this is one of those projects where you're just step by step by step by step, but we have made significant progress. I have to tell you, Mr. DePuma's wife passed away. And when we first began working with him on the property, she was very ill. At first, I didn't know whether to believe him or not, but he seemed to be so sincere when he was discussing it. And he would work on it, but wasn't a lot of progress. And I'm like, okay, hold on, Roxanne, hold on. Well, his wife did pass away. And since she's passed away, he's kept himself occupied with cleaning that up. So another to be continued. Sometimes the stories are just too real.
That's true.
Hong
I was
Kong.
wondering about, geez.
Aw, what's his name? Mr. Yang Tang Lang? Tang? We met with him and his daughter. And he had good intentions.
He's painting it or something now.
I saw
Well,
someone
he hurt his
started
back
painting.
while he was painting it. He himself was painting it. So
Yeah, I
he
noticed.
painted only as high as he could reach. We didn't agree on the color that he was supposed to paint it, but we couldn't order him what color to paint it either. So, again, step by step, and we're getting there. Let's take it 1051 South Houston. Good news, we talked to the property owner on this one today. They're actually going to be fixing the foundation. Burl talked to him and the permit's going out, so.
Good.
That's right, when we got off, they said they were gonna do it right then. We had magic. 653 West Yoakum. Oh, this one's a difficult one. This is a couple. They're always out of town, so we never ever were able to visit them in person, I think, except for one time, the very beginning. And it's a 2-story garage. They're telling us they're gonna demolish it, but it's taking them a while to do so. Moving on to 617 South Arch. Now, Chief, that was your favorite. That was actually one of the properties that had the highest amount of crime calls in it
Whoa.
for the past
That
2
was me.
years.
I called every day.
Well, so the demo team got on it, and when we got on it, it's actually, she works in the medical field. I don't remember if she's a nurse or not. I think she's just a nurse, but she would not be. In Kansas, yeah. She had to hire somebody. She inherited the property. So isn't that interesting? All these properties are kind of like brother family affairs and inheritance. She inherited the property. She had no connection to Aransas past other than the inheritance of this property. She had tons of vagrants living in it, causing substantial problems for the police department. We ended up pushing her enough she hired a lawyer to evict those tenants. The tenants were evicted. I think they might have gone to another property, and we'll work on that one next. However, they sprouted like cockroaches do. That's what happens when you turn on the light. It's got a big hole on the roof now. We're going to have to do something about it. We've called her today. She's slightly ignoring us. I'll let you know what I do next.
Okay.
Should I stop?
No, keep going.
560 North Rife.
Oh, yes.
Miss Sanchez told us she's going to demolish it.
Okay.
So, yay. 357 North Railroad. Another family affair. Another family affair. The family has signed up, one of them signed up as a contractor with the city, and they're going to demolish it themselves as a family. In fact, that's going to be happening this Saturday. So if you want to go
Yay.
see and watch some fun,
Okay.
you know where to be. I don't make these things up. So what's up next? Oh my gosh. Do you remember the very first time I ever did a demolition PowerPoint and I had this nasty structure on the slide and you're like, that's not an Aransas Passes. And I'm like, no. It was that burnt structure, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my Lord. Well,
It's now in Aransas Pass.
it's down here.
Oh.
It's a big fire, our amazing firefighters fought. It actually burned down, I think, the house next door as well. Gosh, we were on the phone today for about an hour, Burl, right? Just trying to reach the mortgagor and the loan company. The property reservation team is a team known as Five Brothers. And so I'm trying to make those connects so that the mortgagor can get permission to the Five Brothers to get the thing down. So hopefully it'll be down soon. Be safe out there, and thank you, firefighters. 235 South Rife. Don't know much about that yet, but wouldn't you want to know? I'll tell you the next time.
Okay.
How about this one, 845 North Avenue A? Don't you want to know? I don't know yet, but I'll let you know later. What about 643 North McCampbell? Not sure, but you can guarantee it's probably going to be a really interesting story. Those are my stories for you today. They're not made up. They're very real. Congratulations. You've had a total of 131 demolitions demolished. Just, yeah, Burl. So we didn't spend any money in the demo budget because everybody we talk to listens and we don't have to file a lien on their property.
That's good.
That's awesome.
But there is one structure that we do have. It's actually owned by the city, and I'll let Burl tell you a little bit more about that, if that's okay with you. 28 for this period. We'll bring you back up to speed shortly in the next few weeks. I'm willing to take any questions. If not, I'll pass it on to your amazing building official, Burl.
I have a question on the ones that you're saying you're following up. Is that on a monthly basis that you contact them again, or?
The demolition team
Okay.
meets every 2 weeks.
Good, okay.
It's when I'm here, but what we have been doing is just doing phone conferencing when I'm not here. So
Good.
it's every 2 weeks. We picked it back up. It's always been every 2 weeks except during a certain period of the COVID time.
Right, okay. Thank you, Roxanne.
You guys
Thank
have
you so much.
done a fabulous job. Thank
Very
you.
good. I know it helps quite a
Fabulous
bit.
job.
Burrow, would you like to tell them about what we're going to be demolishing with the city property soon?
Sure, they're,
I saw
I
crowd.
asked Gary about it, and I wasn't sure what kind of a response I would get, but Gary was he was very enthusiastic. You know where the old water tank is on D-Berry?
Berry in Lamont?
Yep,
Yep.
we're gonna take that out.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Good.
Hopefully sooner than later. I'm hoping it'll be the
Good.
next couple of weeks, 2 or
That's
3 weeks.
awesome.
Yeah, I remember when they converted it from the water tank to the water department.
Yeah, there's a few things that need to be cleaned out, but, we're gonna take it out.
Oh,
Storage
good.
unit. That's
good.
fabulous.
Awesome.
Thank you,
That
Burl.
thing probably won't
Thanks.
go out without a fight.
Probably not.
And council members, as you know, if you see an eyesore, you know how to call me.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
That's
Okay,
great.
now, I'm gonna open up the public hearing on case number 2008-10. Public hearing for a subdivision request by Gallagher Builders Incorporated for Phase 3, final plat being an area commonly known as Hogan Homes or Harbor Heights Phase 3. A portion of San Patricio County Appraisal District property ID number 63789 with legal description being a 11.642 acre tract of land being out of and part of farm lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, land block 5 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to the established map or plat thereof as recorded in envelope 11, page 21 and 22 of the map record, San Patricio County, Texas.
Okay, good. This is part of the Hogan Homes Development Project. Last week, it went to the Planning and Zoning Commission for recommendation. They went through the whole process, making sure all aspects were processed and met all those requirements needed for different departments. It is not actually very different from the phase 1 and 2. The building lines and setback is the same, 20 feet. The side yard is 5, and the rear is also 25 feet. This current phase 3 has an acreage area of 11.642 acres. It has a gross lots of 59 residential lots and 6 common lots areas. It has a private common area of 57,540 square feet and a net area of 8.109 acres. The police department has raised an issue with lighting system within the whole subdivision for safety issues in terms of evenings and nights. It's kind of dark. So I would like, applicants are here to answer any questions that you have. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval for the phase 3 of the subdivision project. Thank you.
Okay, well, I got a question. I got a phone call today. In this phase, we're not gonna open up that road going on 3rd Street. Or y'all are gonna open up the road? No, right?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Trey Summers with Hogan Homes. No, that 3rd Street does not connect into this phase at this time, so there's no plan to tie into there with this current phase.
What about, is there another phase that might?
There are future phases, and that just really needs to be addressed at the time that the phase will be presented. It could be in the next phase or the following phase, but that's something that we need to discuss further with the fire and police as well. But this phase that we're asking for today to be approved has no access to 3rd Street.
What about the concern of the police chief as far as the lighting in the neighborhoods?
Correct. So we kind of did some research on this, and this goes back to previous city manager. And when we presented the subdivision, we, in lieu of doing street lights, we decided to put a floodlight on the front of each house, and that is controlled by the homeowner. And so that was agreed to. Best I can tell, it was a handshake agreement. I went back into my records and looked. I do have the designs from AEP, from Phase 1 and Phase 2 as well. And neither of those designs call for street lights, and so they're not even they're not wired up for future street lights as well. So if you drive by our neighborhood or drive by our houses at night, the homeowners do. I mean, I see them on during the day. They leave their floodlights on. And we did something similar to this in Rockport in our subdivision there, and we put a lamp out as well, and that's there is light in the neighborhood, but yeah, it is. It's just it's a street light. It's just a different street light, and so that was something that like I said, we agreed to with the previous city manager, and I don't have anything in writing from them on that. But however, I do have the previous designs from AEP showing that there are no street lights. So, as we continue to build, we put a front spotlight or floodlight on each house, and we'll continue. We are planning to continue to do that as well.
I think he's got a question. You want to come up to the podium?
Hi, my name is Johnny Hill. I live in Whispering Oaks subdivision, which is directly behind the Charlie Marshall Cemetery on 1069. I approached the council the last time that Hogan Properties was in talking. At that time, it was discussed about County Road 1942, which is 3rd Street, which opens into the back of the Hogan property. The Hogan people informed us at that time that they were going to put a pipe gate across it. It would not be open to come through our housing area, which is a little old bitty street, not from me to Ram. You got to pull off the side of the road for people coming in, going out. And the emergency crews would have the access to that, and only them. And I just want to be sure that that's where we're still at. And what I just heard from this gentleman is it's back up in the air. So I just wanted to express my concern and our neighbors' concerns that we keep that blocked. And they can use it egress in and out, excuse me, for emergency vehicles, but I don't want it opened up to the public. There's what, 450 homes in there?
361.
That will be using it as a direct route to Walmart. Our road is not a straight road, it's curved. This couple right here lives by the mailbox, and it has a very, very nasty curve in it. We can't keep people at 30 miles an hour right now. You can imagine what it'll be like if they open it up. And that's what I wanted to express.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure that they're not going to open up that road.
Trey,
I
can
just
you
want to make
address
sure they're
that?
not going to open it up.
Let Trey address that, please.
Okay, excuse me.
Yes, sir. And I just want to start out by saying this is not our choice. This is up to police and fire. We would prefer not to put the road in. And so that is something that has been brought up, since the very beginning. I know that they were here last time at Phase 2. It was probably discussed at Phase 1 as well. Our intention is to not put it in. The pipe across with the access was kind of an option for police and fire should they continue to want it for safety access. But I mean, for me, I'd rather have a lot there and then have to go through the cost to put a street in. And so, our intention is to not, but however, we do have to work with police and fire to provide, safe access as well. So I totally understand that, and I understand their concerns as well. I don't believe that our homeowners would use that route because it is, winding and up through there. It does take a while to get all the way back up in there. But from our standpoint, we would prefer not to have it. But it is really, at the end of the day, it's not up to us. It's up to the police and fire and city staff as to whether that needs to be, the road needs to be put in or not.
Yes, come up to the podium.
What he just spoke of for the fire and the police, it makes no sense to me. Their direct access is going to be off Avenue A. There's no police or fire on our side of the town anyway. They'd have to come all the way around, and why do they need, and it's windy and curvy, why would they ever choose to use ours as a public access for the police and fire? I think that I'm concerned about this even being voiced. I would like to hear a report from the police and fire department why they think they would ever need to use that road to come through. I don't want a loophole. If there's a loophole here, I need to know that it's on the books, and then we can address that.
Okay. Our Fire Chief Kelly would like to address it.
So this is the first time I've really heard about this conversation. This is a plan that was put in place prior to me being here, but there is a I believe in the fire code where it says once a neighborhood reaches a certain housing development, a certain amount of houses in there, that it does have to have two entrances into the property. For us, say we had a large structure fire, all the fire trucks are coming from one direction, and that's where if there's hoses stretched out there, then the fire trucks can't get in. So they may have to come in from the backside. We do the same thing with apartment complexes. Once they're over a certain amount of units, they have to have two entrances too. That would be my only thing of why the fire department would require that, and is to get multiple trucks being able to come from two different directions because of hose lids.
But that is, you're talking about just about having a gate there,
that
right?
makes sense.
And you having a key or lock to be able to go through it. It's not really open for people to go in and out through there. Only open whenever you need access to it.
We
Okay.
could work with
I
that.
think
It would have
that's-
to have our lock on it, which
Okay.
is already required by fire code, which is that Knox lock program that we're part of.
Okay.
That's not the ideal because someone has to get out. If it's a neighboring department coming in like Ingleside, Rockport, Corpus, whoever comes to help us, they won't have access to that lock. They'll have to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my only thing about putting a gate in, is that if it's locked, then someone from another department wouldn't be able to just easily go through there like they need to. But I'd have to find the code and see what that number is. It sounds like they're probably at that number if they're at 350.
No, that's the total 5 phases, is 300.
How many do you have built now?
We're probably 100 built.
And this next phase would add.
That includes this phase coming up. Phase 3 here.
I would have to look it up. I don't know what that number is, what the magic number is, what the threshold is at. I'd have to look it up.
Can you speak to this map on here, kind of tell us the layout, the street, so we can understand it?
Yeah, so we do have a preliminary plat filed that shows all 5 phases of the subdivision. But the highlighted, the bold part there is the phase 3, so it connects back into Estes Flats, which was phase 2. There is a future entrance off of Avenue A just to the north of our current entrance, and then there will be a future entrance down on Highland. So total there'll be 3 entrances, not referring to the one there on 3rd Street.
Where is 3rd Street on this map?
That's kind of the top right corner there, where it's kind of boxed in. You see it, yeah. So I think that, when this was all discussed originally, I believe that it wasn't for fire and police to get to our neighborhood quick. It was for them to get to 3rd Street should there be an emergency and they need to get there faster. I'm pretty sure that was the discussion we had. And that's why, you know, we talked about having the lock there for them to access that that street should they need to get over there quick. Because it's a lot quicker to come down Avenue A into our subdivision to get to the first and second house there than it is to go all the way down and then back down 1069 and then back winding all the way through there. So it really doesn't do us, our neighborhood, any good at all. I think it was just for police and fire to be able to access that section quicker.
So I want to speak real quickly to that. Just already the way that it is, because I frequent your place regularly just to keep an eye on.
Hopefully in a good way.
Yeah, well, good way. You got a lot of officers that live over there too.
Yep.
If we have a situation over there with the narrow streets, and I know you've made platforms to where you get some of that traffic off, but in reality, when you have large apparatuses going into that neighborhood, that's going to clog a whole street. We're going to need, even now, reasonably speaking, we need another way in and another way out. And I don't think going down 3rd Street is a good way in and a good way out. If you could open up whatever that other street is to Avenue A now, it would be beneficial and reasonable.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that. It's right. I mean, it's just a lot or two there to the north of our existing stuff.
Yeah,
So
2 in, 2 out right now would be most safe for the people that are in there if we have a situation where we're obstructing a roadway. So I would appreciate that, and I don't see a need to open up the 3rd, especially if they don't want it.
If we could formalize that in any way, the preliminary plat is what's in the agreement, and that's why we're telling you that it's not our decision, that's the agreement and that's the preliminary plat. It would take action of council to tell us exit off the map, and then the council at the time we build it can still say, we're not gonna do what you said, but that, we don't want it. We don't think it's necessary.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, Eric, though, if he's gonna have 2 entrances on Avenue A,
We have 2 on Avenue A,
and one on Highland,
and the
eventually.
original plat, they insisted on one on the 3rd Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just asking for it. Right now, there's only one way in and one way
Right.
out.
Yeah, I
And
got
we
what you're
can
saying.
really clog that, especially in this back area that you're looking at. There's only one way in, one way out there, and
Right.
we need to have an ulterior
Right.
route for traffic.
Right,
But
so
if
they're
we
gonna,
modify both those at the same time and get it, and then we could modify the agreement.
Yeah, and just to clarify what Ray
It's
is-
just that we can't change our plat.
Yeah.
It nullifies, if I change that plat, it nullifies all our agreement. And so it'd take council action to change the
Correct.
plat and say, we don't want to connect to 3rd Street.
So that now, that's what, to clarify, that's what he's saying, is council action to get rid of 3rd Street so that when we do get to that phase, new city council, new city manager, new fire chief, new police chief, whoever it is, can't say, no, we want it. So if that's the direction that council and the current police chief and fire chief want to go, we're all about it. We would just need something formal from y'all so that it's on record.
okay.
Okay, we can work on that, I guess.
While we have
Gary?
Logan people here, can I ask, have y'all ever looked at possibly going out to McMullen behind the housing development that's over there, the northeast of the military? It would take you out
Windy
right in front of
Shores.
Charlie Marshall's Elementary.
Windy Shores.
The Windy Shores, that apartment is right there?
Yes, the apartments, Windy Shores.
Yeah, I mean, instead of curving onto Avenue, 3rd Street, 1942, it could go behind that area, which is a vacant nothing right now, sitting there, and it would give you egress, access, in and out, and it would be more straight route for the police, for the fire department. Now granted, there's an elementary school right there, and there's speed bumps right there, but that would help slowing the people down. And it might make them take either exit on Avenue A or the Highland. It's just an alternative, okay? If we don't open up 3rd Street, that is an alternative. I realize somebody has to buy the land, or I don't know who owns it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. I think you're talking about the Navy House right here.
Right here. Yeah.
I will just say, I think it's far better that we open up to a highway and not another residential area.
Okay.
I just think that's the safest bet.
Okay.
And
Especially
I also
with
have
that
a
elementary
comment
school
from
there.
online. Somebody on YouTube said, Lori Byer said that, okay, there is no benefit for emergency services to have that open. They can get in from Avenue A way quicker because they are closer there. And she said same, she's a resident on Third Street.
Okay. I think we've come with what we need to do in order to progress from here.
One other quick thing and then I'm out of here. We'd like to know when this is gonna come up again. We just happened to hear about it by word of mouth. And it's our understanding that if someone is within 100 feet, right, of the Hogan area, they would receive a notice. And I talked to both my neighbors at the end of Third Street this afternoon, and neither one of them received a notice.
A notice of what?
They-
Oh, but the public
But they
hearing?
measure- But they measure it from the part that was doing, not from the part we own, and that's why it didn't get.
Okay.
It
So
didn't
when you
even
go to-
get, the
when you go
200
to-
didn't even get off our property.
Okay, when you go to number 4, then they would receive it, because one of the
Yes.
houses over there is gonna have 9 homes right behind. The older Hurdy place up there. I don't have.
Yeah, right, no, I know.
You know where I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
He's gonna have 9 homes on his back property line. So he'll receive notice.
Yeah, great.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Sure, come on.
Hi, I'm David McCready, and I live back on 1942. I just want to make sure I understand. So as of right now, you're looking at taking some action that will allow Hogan Homes to completely take off County Road 1942 as a access?
Which is
Right.
Third Street.
Which is Third Street, yeah.
That's
Okay.
what we're
Excellent. Thank you very,
recommending.
I won't give you my diatribe of why that's about. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Then I consider the public hearing closed, and we're gonna go to consider an act on subdivision request by Gallagher Builders Incorporated for Phase 3 final plat being an area commonly known as Hogan Homes or Harbor Heights Phase 3, a portion of San Patricio County Appraisal District property ID number 63789 with legal description being a 11.642 acre tract of land being out of and part of found lots 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, land block 5 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to established map on plat thereof as recorded in envelope 11, page 21 and 22 of the map records in San Patricio County, Texas.
Yeah. I make a motion, we approve the request from Gallagher Homes Incorporated for Phase 3.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are you going to add the changes?
Can we do
Yes.
that tonight?
Do we have to do that tonight, or?
Yeah, because if you approve it, it's as is without your changes.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me restate my motion that
Fastest way to take care of it.
I,
If it doesn't work, we'll do it again.
No, it's gonna work.
it's gonna work.
No, but I mean, at that point, if the condition doesn't work.
Well, okay, I amend my motion to include the, with the recommended changes as far as Third Street and opening a different route, the second route to.
Closing Third Street.
Closing Third Street and opening another additional by request, as requested by the police chief.
On Avenue A. correct.
On Avenue A, wherever it is, I don't
Okay.
tell from the, from the map.
Okay. I'll second.
I think I covered it.
All in favor?
Aye. Jeez. I didn't-
Now we're gonna go to the open public hearing to hear comments from citizens on the final report of proposal recommendation to city charter from the 2020 Charter Review Commission dated August 3rd, 2020.
Thanks, Trey.
Anything online?
No comments from nobody? I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we're gonna go discuss, consider, and act on which proposed city charter amendments, if any, to submit to the city qualified voters for that approval at the November 3rd, 2020 election.
Mr. Mayor and Council, if I may, begin the conversation, then I'm going to ask Roxanne, the city attorney, to step in, and we're going to walk through each one for you, and a decision needs to be made on each one. But I want to point out at the outset here that you appointed a wonderful, very effective charter commission. They did a fantastic job as far as putting together proposed amendments to the charter. As we go through each one, if you would please keep in mind that we have a lot of them. We have 9. And we're going to try to point out, when appropriate, what is really necessary and what is not necessary, with the goal of possibly, and it's up to you, it's completely up to you, of culling out and trimming down the number that we have so that the ballot is not so voluminous. So that's something to keep in mind. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. But if you feel that some of the items are not necessary for this particular ballot, if you would keep that in mind so that it is not such a long ballot as far as these 9 particular items go. I reemphasize for the 3rd time, that is up to you. But it's something to keep in mind as we go through each one. And we'll try to throw in information also that may help you with that decision. Roxanne?
I'm so popular today. First of all, I have to tell you, whoa, really. Each one of you nominated 2 people to be on the Charter Review Commission. And what a smart, intellectual group. Phenomenal. I want to take them on the road with me and do this somewhere else again. I believe your chairwoman of the Charter Review Commission is present. Juanice Butler, could you please stand and be recognized? And we have Dr. Lawrence Bailey, who was on this. Wow, amazing. Joe Dominguez, Elizabeth Doris. I was going to give each one of them an award because, well, I won't tell you what Gary's award was going to be, but he's the one who made the most faces. Because he's on the camera and you've seen it before. He's like, you know what I'm talking about. All right, we have Philip Hyatt, Karen Mayer, Michael Moore, Michael Schultz, Myron Schroeder, Carol Salinas, Renee Thacker. You want an awesome job. Just very so much. Thank you. All right, now let's get to business. Now that they did some hard work, we got to do some hard work now. Now, I have this really fancy chart in front of y'all, and it should be in your packet. And I'm going to break it down for you as easily as possible. Ms. Butler, if I don't do it correctly, you let me know, okay? All right. Now, the basic summary is your Charter Review Commission basically came up with 10 amendments, okay? And if I had to categorize those, they're all over the place, so I can't. What I will tell you is under the election code, Mary, and you'll back me up on this, right? You can't call them Proposition 1 or 2. You have to alphabetize them. So it's Proposition A, Proposition B, okay? And each proposition is a subject matter. Capiche so far? Got it. All right, so in this chart, what you're going to have to do is 2 very important things today. You're going to have to decide which subject matters are going on the ballot for the voters to vote on. And then the second thing you're going to have to decide, after you've decided the subject matters, you're going to have to decide which ballot language you want to put on the ballot. And let me explain. Let's take a look at the first one, Proposition A. This is about department heads being appointed by the city council. Okay, the charter says it's got to be appointed by the city council, but you and I know that's not how a city manager form of government works. The city manager appoints the department heads. So this is really one of those cleanups, right? You want to just clean up the charter so that it actually reflects the way the city functions. Well, the election code tells us, all right, if that's going to be a subject matter, you can phrase that either as a yes or no question to the voters, or you can phrase it as a for or against proposition to the voters. So if you think about it, yes or no is a question, right? So shall city department heads be appointed by the city council? Yes or no?
No.
Or should it be a for or against? Neither the council nor any of its members direct the appointment of any person to or his or her removed from office by the city manager or by any other of his subordinates. Confusing, right? For and against? I'll tell you what they did do, though. At your last election in 2006, Mary found that they actually cited the entire part of the charter. So that's your third column. Does everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
You get the yes and no, the for and against, and then the third one, which is the entire language of the charter that would be changed.
Did you say the last charter review was 2006? Oh, 16.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was what they did in 2006.
Right, this is what they did. Thank you for correcting me.
very
last one.
Thank you, Councilmember Scribes, for catching that error.
I was like,
So many sixes. All right, just make sure we're all clear.
did you find all this?
So 2 things, the subject matter, is that going to go on the ballot? And then if it is, we're going to have some level of consistency in how we're going to form that to the voters. So you want the voters to vote yes or no, or
Hold on.
for or against. And the for or
Wait a minute.
against, you have 2 different options.
Hold on.
It's under the language, proposed language.
The last one.
The last one that you open up. Because I opened everything else up.
The one at the
It's
very
under the
bottom.
very last one.
Last one where?
Just got one.
And mine downloaded into a different place today.
Oh, I thought we were right here.
The ballot.
Oh, ballot charter.
you go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I think the easiest thing for the city council to do, if you agree, Mayor, is for us to go through the subject matters. I will tell you, and then we can come back and decide which form would be easier, a yes or a no, or for or against. I will tell you that when the city secretary contacted the county clerk to let her know that we're going to have all these charter amendments, county clerk was a little bit
Freaked out?
concerned about the length of the ballot. Because it is a primary November election, the ballot already is lengthy, minus us. So with us on there, this would make this extremely long. How many pages, Mary, did she say? Right now, without the charter?
And it would be at the end of the ballot, because it's ballot protocol, so we would be at the end of the ballot.
So it's already 15 to 20 pages long without our charter amendments.
I have a question before you do. Can we move this particular election to the one in May of next year? Because we're going to have another. I'm just a question. Can we do that or not? Move it
Or
to
we
May.
could divide them for this time, for the next
Here we
time.
go.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
There you go.
If you take some now, you can only amend your ballot every 2 years. So if you take some now, you couldn't take any more chart amendments until.
For another
Okay.
2 years.
Okay.
But
All
the
right.
original question is, can we just wait altogether? Yes.
Okay.
Is provided you don't take it to the November election.
Okay.
But if you do take some to the November election, you do have to wait 2 years as a matter of law.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to proceed with the subject matters, or do you want to make that decision? Because if you decide to wait, then we don't need to go through the rest of this.
Proceed, I think we need to
Yeah.
proceed.
Yeah,
There are some
proceed.
excellent charter amendments here that
Yes.
need to be approved this election, as far as I'm concerned.
Correct. Yeah, and we had this committee forum and went through all that work. That would be, yeah.
So, Mayor, if it's okay with you, let me go through the subject matters of the amendments, and then maybe that will help refresh your memory and guide the council. All right, I tried, as I talked to the city manager and the city secretary, on a way on how to help you decide what's more urgent or not urgent. Some of these changes I would classify as cleanup changes. And what I mean by cleanup is very important, is that state law or case law already exists that trumps the charter. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the charter needs to be cleaned up to match what higher authority says. But there's also some amendments in here that literally are your choice.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you want, is that a good classification for you? You know, which ones are trumped by higher authority and which ones aren't? Let me give you an example. Department heads being appointed by the city council. Well, you're already a city manager form of government, and the way it functions is a city manager hires that. So that's statutory. So that would really kind of be like a cleanup of the
Correct.
charter.
Yeah.
But Is it important to clean up the charter? Yeah, it's very important. Is it important and urgent enough now? That's something you'll have to make a decision on. Let's move on to the next subject matter. So that was Proposition A, right? Department heads. Proposal B would be about whether or not the municipal court judge has to reside in the city. There was some discussion with your Charter Review Commission on whether or not that limits your intake of who's qualified for a municipal court judge position here, but more importantly for your alternate municipal court judges. If whatever qualifications your head judge has, the alternates also have to have. And there's not a lot of people that can serve in that alternate municipal court position, and so that's limiting your ability to have an insurance policy for people to fill in. So that's actually one of your decisions. There's no state law that trumps that. That's your decision on whether or not you want the city judge to reside in the city. Doing good so far? Ms. Beller, okay. She's a sharp cookie. She actually wins the award for holding the first Charter Review Commission by the City of Aransas Pass via Zoom. And it was amazing. You handled all of us very well. Let's move on to Proposition C. This is, shall the city secretary or the deputy be an ex officio clerk of the municipal court? Well, you've grown to the point where you have 2 full-time court clerks. And so you don't, as a matter of function, we have clerks functioning. The city secretary would have to take over. Something should happen to those court clerk positions, but you already have 2, so the likelihood of it happening is very rare. So how urgent is that for you or the voters to determine? Does it need to be cleaned up? Absolutely. But is it ready to be cleaned up now? Moving on to Proposition D. This is about the city secretary verifying that all candidates who file for a position on this council are qualified. And there's a portion of the charter that requires that they have to have had all city bills, accounts, and taxes owed to the city to have been paid in order to be qualified. Well, the Supreme Court made that decision for you. Whether you believe it or not, or you're in favor of it or not, the Supreme Court has said, listen, if someone hasn't paid their bill, it may not be, and they want to run for office, they may not have paid it because they're poor. And you cannot prevent a poor person from running for election. That literally was the explanation. And so you can't, by case law of the Supreme Court, mandate that someone have paid all their bills owed to the city in order to run. It may be that one day the people, by their mere vote, will decide that all people elected should not have paid their bills to the city. Shocking, isn't it?
Kind of crazy.
It is, well, it is case law. All right, let's move on to Proposition E. Are we doing fine for the council members? Are you okay?
We're doing good.
All right, let's move forward. Shall the city manager be appointed for a definite term or not appointed for a definite term? Your city managers are obviously not an elected position, they're an appointed position, and you do have a contract with your city manager. Most cities have contracts with city manager. So do you want to pose this to the voters or not? I don't know if the city manager has any comments involving that, but that's a decision to be made.
Right now, my agreement says 3 years. Is that something you feel is important enough to address in this particular list of proposed amendments? So it's maybe not a critical issue, but it is an issue that everyone felt needed to be addressed. But how critical is it? That's a good question.
How critical, how urgent. All right, let's move on to Proposal F, as in Finance Director. We love our Finance Director. And for some reason, when they created this position, because the city got big enough, the city manager wasn't the finance director anymore, as in most small cities. We were big enough to have our own finance director. You created that portion of your charter. But for some reason, the actual text of the charter, while it created the headline Finance Department, it did not include or switch out the words Finance Director instead of City Manager. Cleanup, is it urgent? Let's turn a couple of pages down to Proposal G. This is where the city manager would be given the authority to come up with rules and regulations for the sale of any city property that's estimated at a value of $1,000 or less. This is probably going to be an item that rarely comes up. I don't think we have anything worth less than $1,000. So something you might want to think about, but it doesn't appear to be very urgent at this time. Proposition H, this is where in the same section, but it's saying that if you've got a property worth more than $1,000, not only do you have to advertise it in the newspaper, the Charter Review Commission also recommend that we advertise it on the city webpage and other media resources of the city. We certainly do that now. It's not mandated for us to do it, but we do it as a matter of operation now. Do you want to make a requirement under your charter? And is that urgent for you to do at this point? Moving on to Proposition I. This is about the actual allowing of the city council to adopt a more detailed purchasing policy. This would be more detailed than what is required under state law right now. You actually already have the authority to do that without saying it in the charter. By the fact that you're a home rule charter, you're allowed to create more detail. Do you want to specifically state in the charter? Yeah, you could have that, but you don't have to say it in your charter to have that power. You already have the power. So is that urgent enough to place on the ballot at this point as a cleanup? Moving on to Proposition J. This one I think is important, and this is what I call the economic development one. It basically Charter says right now that you can't authorize the expenditure of public funds for the development of privately owned businesses in a subdivision. You might get major subdivisions coming in that are seeking economic development incentives, and state law allows you to do that. So state law trumps it, but the charter specifically tries to make it sound like it's not allowed in specific narrow instances involving subdivisions. So due in the course of our time, with such economic turnaround happening in our country, and more specifically the positive economic turn in our city, you might want to actually pose that to the voters and get a feel on how they feel about the use of economic development public funds being used to attract businesses to the city of Aransas Pass. And last, for L, Proposition L, is should the charter be reviewed every 2 years? State law says it can be reviewed every 2 years, and it can be elected and voted on every 2 years, but for some reason your charter says you're going to do it every 3 years. State law allows you to do it 2 years, so do you want to pose that to the voters or not? All right, so that's Proposition A through L. I know it's very convoluted.
So
What happened to K?
Oh, we have K.
No.
No.
It goes J, L.
Oh, that one, it was my mistake. It's alphabetical. Sorry.
I was just wondering.
Thank you. Y'all are trained so well. I'm so proud of y'all.
We just thought it was a.
I can't believe you didn't catch my mistake. I've made too many mistakes, Jay.
No, you haven't.
It's my only mistake for the year.
So if I hear you loud and clear, on the ballot, we can hold off on several of them, but the ones that are important, such as B and J, in my mind, are really super important.
Here's
We
the
can put
great-
those two on the ballot and wait 2 years to put the others on the ballot? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that that is an option for you. The council gets to decide how they want to proceed. You're the governing body elected by these people. I'm telling you that I've heard concerns from the county clerk that the ballot is extremely long, right, as it is without our amendments. You have the option to not put anything on the charter and wait till May. You have the option of putting all of these things on the charter election. Or you have the option of putting some. Whatever the case, if we put something on the ballot, we have to at least educate the voters on what it is that we're putting on the ballot.
Correct.
And so I debated with myself, as I constantly do. I promise you that's not a problem. It's how they train us in law school. Nobody laughed at that one joke.
Oh.
Oh, was that, okay, was that a joke? Okay.
We were studying here. We're studying.
We're studying and
There's a lot
reading.
of stuff to study here.
We're wondering what happened to Kay.
I was debating with myself, trying to figure out how do I help the council make a decision, and basically what's important and urgent for the voters to decide on right now. And you can come up with another strategy if you'd like. On maybe you just want to pick and choose randomly, or perhaps what you should do is go through each one of them and make a decision on whether or not on each one you want it on the ballot or not.
Can we probably hear from the chairperson of the committee?
I would highly recommend that. She's phenomenal. I love her. It's the first time I told her that, but I love you, Ms. Butler. Please, Chairman Butler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Although this is not a topic that the commissioners spoke of in any detail, certainly we were in service to the council and to the citizens of Aransas Pass. So what is in the best interest of our community? If the council feels that a lengthy ballot we would lose interest, or if the timing is now where we need to at least align the charter provisions, align them with state statute, we certainly would be in favor of that. If the council so chooses to, for whatever reason, because it is your discretion, to wait, I would just ask on behalf of the commissioners to document the work that we have done, and so that the next go-around, we'd already have that available, so that the next team doesn't have to start all over from scratch.
Okay.
But we did notice in the review that there were some things that maybe this might be a reason that were put off. There's some dates in there that should probably have come out before, and so that doesn't just keep getting passed off, and passed off. We would certainly like to make sure that our city charter is representative of Aransas Pass today.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Juanita.
Any questions?
You guys have done an amazing job. You really
We had a
have.
really
I
good
know
team,
was-
yes.
Yes, you did.
Well, I think we definitely need to have some of these on the charter.
I think so too.
Definitely.
I definitely think some of these need to be on the charter. But didn't Roxanne say we'd have to wait 2 years to put the rest of them on?
And I'm thinking, like,
Correct.
we're talking like we're gonna have a very long ballot, and by the time people get down to us, they're gonna be bored.
But there are a couple of things that are really important on this.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
if it's
I
that
think they're
important.
bored before they read anything.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if it's that important, let's do it in May when it's concentrated on just the city's business, not all the other circus that's going on. That's just how I feel. You
Oh, see, I got
concentrate-
you, because it's the
Yes.
November,
Yes,
okay.
it's gonna be
okay.
a circus, it's gonna be a circus.
Yeah.
And get it where, in May the election,
Okay.
that's our business only.
Well, that
And
makes
you're gonna
sense.
you'll have more attention on it that way, instead of all the sideshows.
But are there any issues that need immediate attention, though? I know you,
I would have said yes, that's why I said that.
Yeah.
I think there are two of them that are extremely important for the November election.
and the others would have to wait
Before
2
the,
years.
before the new year.
I
And that-
actually have 4 that I think.
I had 4 also.
Which 4 did you have?
I have B, C, F, and J.
Oh, I did mark C, yes. F I didn't. mark.
C, I marked that as not necessary. That means
B,
I gotta
C,
go back
F,
and look at it.
J. Which ones did
C.
you have?
I had A, B,
C, D, E,
F, and J.
Well, we all
A,
agree.
B, F, and J. C, I gotta look at C. 'cause
That's
y'all
about the city secretary serving as a deputy.
Oh, but.
But the state overrides
But
it.
the state overrides
No,
that one.
the state doesn't override that.
Oh, okay, wait a minute.
Well, it's something that, you're right,
Oh,
the state
so-
doesn't override it, it's just
Okay.
that she didn't think that it would be
Just,
necessary.
It's probably going to be easier if you say it by subject matter so that the public knows exactly what subjects you're talking about when we're discussing this.
Oh, so,
But with that said,
okay.
I want to answer any questions that you have. And then I think Mary and your city secretary and your city manager had an idea on how to go through the subject matters. Remember, the subject matters, once you decide if you're going to put them on the ballot, if you put them on the ballot, you have to wait 2 years before you can do another election on the charter. So the cleanup would have to wait 2 years, or anything you don't choose on this November ballot.
I think A is very important.
What is A?
Because
What's the subject matter?
that's certainly not something that we should be responsible for. That's city manager's position.
But I think it's the form of government that we have that trumps that, correct?
Keep in mind that elsewhere in the charter, it says exactly what this would accomplish if this were to be approved. It says the council should not get involved in day-to-day activities of the city administration, basically. So it's already accomplished with that. So that's in the charter right now. So keep that in mind also, on how urgent this is.
So that addresses A in a way on that part, right?
I'm sorry?
Addresses where the city council shall appoint the department
Yeah,
heads.
it doesn't say department head specifically, but it accomplishes the same thing.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So as it's written right now in the charter, it's contradictory?
That would be contradictory, because elsewhere in there it says the city manager does the day-to-day
Well, I think it's
activity,
very
and the council
important.
is not doing the day-to-day activity. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what it says.
Okay.
Mayor,
I'm
you
just
also-
thinking in the future, I think that A is important. But, anyway.
Mary, you also have Mr. Schroeder here, who participated in the Charter Review Commission. I just want to make sure he's recognized, and he might have something he wants to tell y'all as well.
He's shaking his head no.
No.
Can I tell him what award you won? I think he wanted to make this. Did you know what wanted to make the city attorney resign the city?
Yeah.
No. No, it's a very difficult decision that you'll have to make, and I can see the importance of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And the other thing is the language is, depending on how you put it on there, is gonna make it real long. But in order to get a true sense of what we're trying to do, it really needs to have that long paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not opposed to shortening the number of proposals or changes to be made. I'm not opposed to that at all. I just trying to put the importance, ranking that is the hardest thing to do, and I don't have a clue as to which would be the most important one. So that's really all I have to say on it.
Thank you.
If something comes up, I'll.
So do you want us to go through each one again and
So-
so make a decision on each one, or do you want to wait until May? There's several options before you.
So what is the con in waiting till May from November?
To be able to do it.
Because there are important issues right now, is what I'm hearing from the
Okay.
council. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Because if you only do 3, then.
Well,
the
I
other
get
ones
that.
gotta wait for the
Okay.
rest or whatever.
Yes, sir?
Maybe one more thing. About that, if you can switch it to May, that would probably work a lot better than unless you have to do something in November. Because that way, like Billy was saying, that people wouldn't get quite as bored, it wouldn't be distracted from all the hoopla that's going on during the national elections.
The mayor's race is in May, and that would just give everybody such great information to read and be so excited about for the mayor's election, because everybody just loves it. They just love it. Rance Pass goes out for the mayor's election like they're voting on the grandma.
What I would think is whichever one each one of us think is important, just we can bring it, select like B, C, D, F, J, K, whichever one we
Right.
want to go, and then we can discuss the subject matters on the ones that we're considering putting on the November.
Do you want me to go through each one?
No,
Or, no,
no.
okay.
I just feel like maybe take the note of what Billy thinks is important to be in November, Carrie, the mayor, Jan, and myself. That way, and then we can go into the subject matter, because that's just my recommendation. I don't know what the rest of the council feels. I can give you mine, okay? I'll start with.
We can start with you, Ms. Abrego.
I'll start with place 4, okay? And I'm just gonna give the letter, then we can read them later. It's,
If we could just correct my mistake, the L is not supposed to be L.
It's supposed to be K, yep.
okay,
What is it supposed to be?
K.
Supposed to be K, not L.
okay. I think it's B, C, F, and J for November.
Okay, you said what? B?
B, C, F, J.
Okay. And I guess we'll just go down, Councilmember Moore, Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
I'm B, C, J are the three most important. And I'm gonna stick with B, C, and J at this point.
Did you say B, C, and J?
B, C, J.
Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Scruggs?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Rams going. So, Mary, catch me up, or Roxanne, because I had circled F here for some reason. So is F one of those that takes care of itself? The finance director?
That is an issue, that's a pure cleanup issue, because the way it's worded right now, it's under the heading of finance director. Here's what the finance director does, then in the next line it says the city manager does it. So I don't know who put that together, but it's a cleanup to clarify what
I guess
the
that's why I had
finance
it as
director-
something, so
if
that's
a job
important.
description.
That's
Those
why I have
items are
F.
day-to-day
Yeah,
items
I have
of the
F.
finance director.
Okay. Okay. All right, so it's my turn. I said A, B, F, and J.
Councilmember Ellis?
I just went B, F, and J.
B, F.
B, F, and J?
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor?
Me?
Yes.
He didn't.
Whatever they want. I'm good with all of them. If we could have them all, it'd be nice, but we can't.
Well, if we wait till May, we can do them all. If we're just gonna do a few of them, then,
But I just think that some of them are just like the wording, right, just cleaning up, but a lot of them, according to our city attorney, the state law already trumps what we have on our charter, so that is not, I mean, you know, it's, I'm not saying it's not important, but we have a higher ruling that overrules the city charter, if there were ever a question about that.
And I will add F to mine also. God bless.
I'm good.
So it looks like everyone selected B, F, and J, and then two of you selected C.
Did you say C, Mary?
Yes, sir, C.
So it'd be B, F, and J, those are the three popular ones, right?
Yes.
By
Everyone
most of the
selected
council.
B, F, and J, and then two selected C.
Well, C is something that Roxanne said she didn't think we'd be dealing with, because we have two clerks, so.
I think that just the three there, the most.
B, F, and J,
B,
keep
F,
it
and
simple.
J. Okay, you want me to read them?
Mm.
Well, do we need to select the yes or no with the point against, Roxanne? Well,
Read one and then whether we put yes or no or for or against, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, then on B, the yes and the no is, shall the municipal court judge be required?
excuse me, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
She want to stand next to you. We need consensus from the council on which ones they want to choose for the ballot. And
We
then
have to
once
make
we,
it in a motion?
yes, and then once you make that motion and we have an understanding of what you want on the ballot, if any, then we need to talk about which ballot language of each one you want.
Okay, well,
And-
I make a motion that we propose that we have, can I just say the letters without having to go through the whole thing by motion?
Yes, you can say the letter and then I'll verify the subject matter after you've said it.
Okay, I make a motion that we put on the November ballot B, F, and J. That's make a motion for that.
And so Proposition B involves the residency of the municipal court judge and whether or not they're required to reside in the city. F is involving the finance director clarification that it's not the city manager that handles the finances, it's the finance director who does.
Let me add to that, just for your information. In the job description for the city manager, it goes into some detail that the city manager is responsible for the budget, as opposed to this, which is the day-to-day operation of the finance department. So just want to make that clarification.
And then J is involving the authorization of expenditure of public funds for economic development.
Okay, so that's my motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to poll the council? Or take a record vote.
Well, the motion was by Ms. Abrego to put before the voters in November, B, F, and J. I'll call for a roll call vote. Ms. Abrego? Councilmember Abrego?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Yes.
Councilmember Scruggs?
Okay. No, I think we should have more than just 3 on the ballot.
So your vote is no?
If we do them in May, we can have all 3, all of them. So, no.
Councilmember Ellis?
I'd rather wait till May to go try and get them all on there.
So it's a 2-2 vote. It's a 2-2 vote, so then in the event of a tie,
Well, me personally, I'm like Billy, I'd much rather wait till May. I'd like to see all of them in there, not just 3 of them.
So no.
And if we just do those 3, well, then now we gotta wait another 2 years to be able to do the other ones. And if that's what they recommended,
your vote?
To do it in May.
So the motion was.
It's a yes or no?
The motion was to put in November, so then your vote is?
No.
No, okay. The motion fails.
Well, my next
All right,
question
so
would
then
be,
What's the next question, if any?
so my next question would be, maybe this question should have been before now. Maybe we needed to be, or I needed to be, maybe I needed to be more educated on what these things, how they will affect the city as of now. Why would we need to have these done now versus wait till May? Because I haven't had that question or anyone have that conversation with me, so I don't know what the importance of some of these is, so therefore, I mean, I understand the importance, but I don't understand the immediacy of needing them done in November.
Well, you appointed a charter review commission, and they went through their exercise of holding meetings and reviewing the
Well,
charter.
I
And they
understand all
presented
that.
their final report, and it's up to the council on whether they want to put those in November or if they want to hold them until the next election in May.
Because all the heavy lifting's been done. We just put it on the shelf until May to put it on the ballot in May where people can spend more time with it and concentrate on it instead of all the others.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, the heavy lifting's been done, it's just a matter of just putting it on hold for a few months. That way we have a
Gary?
shot at getting everything on the ballot.
I'm sorry. Can we go into executive session for 5 minutes? Have everybody leave the room and discuss?
I think we can, but that's Roxanne.
Yeah, we can. There's
Could we do
standard
that,
language.
Roxanne?
I don't have it, but there's standard language on the agenda.
I think,
There is
Sherry's
standard,
question is good.
That's why I said that.
there is standard language on your city council agenda that is on your agenda every single time you meet that will allow the city council to go into executive session on any item listed on the agenda. So the answer is yes. We would just have to know for what exception you would go into executive session for and for what subject matter. And so if it's involving charter amendments, you can go under section 551.071 of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it best for us to go over here?
551 point.
No, we'll have to do it here.
We have to do it here?
Yeah.
Well, we have to make sure everything's turned off.
I'm sorry.
Everything is turned off.
We would just need for you to announce, Mayor, that we're going into executive session pursuant to 551.071
Yeah.
to further discuss the proposed charter amendments.
So you need to say that.
Pursuant to 551.
Yeah.
551.071.
557.
551.071.
Okay, we're gonna go into executive session
Pursuant to.
to go to the 551.071.
For legal advice.
Anticipate's gonna be pretty short.
It'll be short.
Mary,
Vic?
are you just gonna shut off the audio?
Yes, I'm gonna go to tell,
He's already done it. He put you in the exec. I'll have him black out.
Yeah.
frío, frío.
Okay. Oh, man.
All right.
Man, I almost stood up
You
on
were
that one,
announcing
Eric.
Juanice, right? He was announcing you, Juanice.
I'm about hopping out of my chair.
That's funny.
Okay.
Juanice was
We're gonna
like, "What? What's going on?"
reconvene in open session to consider and take action, if any, on any item discussed in executive session.
Okay, well, we discussed this amongst ourselves, and being time is of the essence, we do not want to waste 2 years and nothing happening for the following deal, so we decided we want to put all
Well, you
the
didn't make any
proposals
decision
on
in
the-
executive session, sir. You got legal clarification on time limits.
Okay, so so I guess we'll say I'm gonna make a motion that we put all amendments on the charter election for the A through K.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any discussion on why you should do that?
We want to make sure that everything is important on here, and if we cherry pick it, we can only have, so if we pick 2 or 3 on there right now, the rest of them have to sit and wait for 2 years or better before we can do anything again. This way, we get it out there and get the community to have their say on all these, yes or no. And that's the way it cleans things up. I mean, we're here to clean up the charter, and let's get it job done right. They've done a lot of work. Now it's time for us to do the heavy lifting and put it on the ballot for them.
Okay, so that gives me direction. It sounds like now that you've made decisions on putting everything on the charter ballot, everything on the ballot,
Yes.
I'm losing it.
The election ballot.
Yes. You have a choice of whether or not you want it to say yes or no. You want the voter to say yes or no, or you want the voter to say for or against. And so those were the 3 choices you had. The for and against are the second and third column. And they're for and against because one's a shorter version and the last column is like the whole charter section that would be amended. So you get to decide, and it's your authority alone to decide how you want to pose that in a yes or no question or a for or against question. Statement.
I would say a yes or no question because people understand yes or no.
So do we need to make a motion? Or do
Well-
we have to vote on that?
If you're going, yes, we would have to make a decision on that. What I also would ask you though is, since you picked all of them, A and B have 2 different readings of yes or no. And if you could just we could go through those 2 so you can give me direction on which you prefer to be on the ballot. So A is, shall city department heads be appointed by the city council, yes or no? Or the second option, shall city manager have sole authority to appoint and terminate city department heads, yes or no?
The second one.
Second one.
Okay, if I can have a motion and a vote on that.
I make a motion that the Charter Amendment A be read, shall city manager have sole authority to appoint and terminate city department heads?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, and B was also a choice in the drafting. The first option is, shall the municipal court judge be required to reside within the city limits? Yes or no? May the municipal court judge reside outside the city limits?
Second
Yes or
one.
no? May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion is, B, may the municipal judge reside outside city limits.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the way the questions for proposals C through K have one option, if the council's in favor of those languages, if I could please have a motion on that.
I make a motion that we approve the language for the Charter Amendment C through K.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I could just verify with the city secretary that she believes that she has all she needs for the preparation of the ballot? She confirmed yes. City manager, anything? Thank you, Mayor and council members. And let me tell you, in addition to those Charter Review Commission, you guys work great as a team, and I appreciate your cooperation in going through this exercise. It is your authority and your authority only to propose these to the voters. So congratulations on making an important decision.
Well, they worked very hard on it, and we really appreciate what you've done.
And let me just say that the next item is an item that's ordering the election for Council Places 2 and 4, and will include all of the charter amendments that you've just voted on to put before the voters. And it's also authorizing a joint agreement with the San Pat County Elections Administrator for the conduct of the election. That's the next item.
Who's in favor of the council?
I'm still downloading it for verbiage.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2020-948.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye. I wish you could say resolution.
Now we're gonna go to the city manager. This is consider an act on setting a public hearing on the ad valorem tax rate for September 8, 2020 during the city council meeting beginning at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 600 West Cleveland in Aransas Pass, Texas.
That's it right there. You just stated it, and that's what's being asked, is to go ahead and set that, that date for the ad valorem tax rate.
I make a motion that we set a public hearing on the ad valorem tax rate for the September 8 2020 City Council meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act on setting September 21st, 2020 as a date for the adoption of the ad valorem tax of .799194 per hundred valuation.
Which is our current, and that also clearly defines what is being asked of you. Just setting, going ahead and setting that date for that action, if you agree.
Okay, so by this particular motion doesn't mean that that's what we're setting the tax rate, right? It's gonna be based on our city council public hearing that we have on.
That is correct,
September the 8th, okay. Okay, well, I make a motion that we act on setting September the 21st, 2020 as the date for the adoption of the ad valorem tax rate of 0.799194.$100 valuation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act on approving ordinance number 2020-4320, amending Code of Ordinance, Chapter 19.5, Section 19.5-19, to prohibit launching certain motorized vessels from Lighthouse Lake Trails Park, providing a penalty by violations, providing a savings and severability clause, providing a publication date, and providing an effective date.
Back in 2002, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department developed the Lighthouse Lakes kayak trails, and to support this, at that time, new and significant outdoor recreational activity. The city entered into a partnership back then and agreed with the Corpus Christi Port Authority and the Nueces County officials concerning this park area. The city of Aransas Pass now wishes to protect and preserve the area for its intended use, and that's for the kayak activity. That's what this is about.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2020-4320.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go on, consider an act on approving an engagement letter with the Wymore Law Firm relating to telecommunication matters.
There are times when specialized legal counsel is needed. This is one of those where we're dealing with telecommunication issues. I've been working with IT on actually 3 different issues that we need specialized input on. And we've checked with more than one firm, and this is the firm that I know one of you is familiar with. And the rate just happens to be the better rate. And in interviewing this particular attorney, they are very knowledgeable in the areas where we need some assistance on telecommunication matters. And it's only just for telecommunication matters, that's it. After that work is completed, then our agreement with them no longer is in existence.
Well, I make a motion that we approve an engagement letter with the Wymore Law Firm relating to telecommunication matters.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we're gonna go to consider an act on rescheduling the September 7th, 2020 City Council meeting to Tuesday, September 8th, 2020 due to a city holiday.
That's it. You just worded it.
Make a motion that we reschedule the September 7th meeting to September 8th due to this Labor Day.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to the monthly municipal court report. June
That
and
has
July.
been submitted to you in writing already, as all of these reports will be tonight.
Development services, no, community enrichment.
Same thing, it's been submitted to you already.
Okay, so development services, the same thing? No.
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 Oh,
No,
look,
no.
here you go one, here's one for you, Rand.
No, 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 no.
Here we go. Why? Because,
Is there someone here to speak for them?
No, I would, no, there isn't.
Okay.
This is
Can it
something
be?
that, as we say in the
Well, not
memo,
gonna
the
be,
contractor has begun installation already on the electrical services for the new lighting, and during a meeting with AEP at the site, AEP, is requiring us to include a disconnect switch for the 2 electrical services being installed by the contractor. Again, this is being required of us by AEP. All other services are being done by AEP. The total cost, $1,378.66. This is something, again, that AEP pointed out to us, and they're requiring it of us.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve change order number 1 for Con Brown Harbor Road project not to exceed $1,378.66.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Consider an act on approving ordinance number 2020-4321 by amending the city code of ordinance by repealing Article 11, street names, Section 26-22 in its entirety, and adding new Section 26-22 through 26-29 to add procedure for renaming or changing names of streets, providing a repealer clause, and providing for an effective date.
This proposed legislation has a long, colorful, and exciting history for the past several months. Jose has been working on it, and in fact, even before Jose got here, this is legislation that was being worked on. Jose has fine-tuned it. It's gone through P&Z. It's gone through P&Z extensively. They know this intimately, I would say. There is a system in place for renaming streets. And this is the first time in any detail that we've had this. Jose, you want to talk about the details related to this and the procedure?
Yes, this process has gone through legal and also planning commission for discussion. And some of the important sections are, let's say, the application fee. There is a subsection that talks about the research fee. The idea is to, before any renaming of street comes into place, there has to be a research within the vicinity, especially besides all property owners owning property along that particular street, to determine whether they agree for the renaming. And so the research will take charge of that. And out of that, 75% of that survey or research will have to confirm that they are interested in the renaming. before it comes before the P&Z and also City Council for approval. And so it's much more detailed rather than just going through the bureaucratic processes. Another aspect of it is where this process has to be well informed by different departments, such as the Public Works Department, the Fire Department, the Police, Building Division, and United States Postal Office. So they will also be informed and get the recommendation from them whether they have issues with it or not before it goes to P&Z and City Council. So these are the major points in there. And most importantly, it looks as if there are certain residents within the city that are interested in requesting that certain street names be named after their parents, and certain very significant residents who have contributed immensely toward the development of the city. An example is Alan Samuels, and somebody has recommended that he be named after a street. In view of that, we feel that we need to put in place a proper code of ordinances that will go through the process to make sure everything is in place before we do that. So this ordinance is before you to look at it, and we recommend that you approve it. Thank you.
Just to reemphasize, this has been reviewed by P&Z extensively and for more than one meeting. So a number of eyes have looked over this also for your information. In addition to Jose, who's done a very good job with it.
Well, I make a motion that we approve.
Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I did provide some legal comments on that ordinance, and then I saw it on the agenda. Were the changes made?
Yes.
Yes, we sent it to Jose and he made those changes, yes. I think you had 4 or 5 of them, and those were included.
So you have read this and approved this, Roxanne?
I made legal changes to
Right.
one that was submitted, and then I saw it on the agenda.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if they have been changed.
Those
or
have been
not.
incorporated,
Yeah.
yes.
It shows, okay. So I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2020-4321.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I guess we'll skip the Public Works report.
Has been submitted.
The building, the finance, and we'll go to Mr. Eric for consider an act.
Before you leave finance, Mr. Mayor and council, if I may, I just want to point out that the sales tax is still very high, even in light of the COVID situation. So the sales tax, the city's doing well as far as the sales tax goes. We'll knock on wood and hope that that continues, but that's the situation as of this moment. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna go to Eric and consider an act on allowing the police department to purchase additional data ports for the newly installed dispatchers consoles.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this was an item that we had brought to you as far as doing a dispatch remodel. This is kind of like, I guess you would say, a change order, kind of. We weren't aware of the ports that were selected.
Change order.
We weren't aware of the number of ports that were selected. And these ports are, the computer's gonna be locked up in this area, and stuff are gonna need to be plugged in to the computer. So these ports move it up to where they can plug them in, don't have wires all over the place. And I don't see the attachment. Maybe if you scroll down more on that. Is it another? Nope. Okay, so there is a attachment where the cost is under $2,000. I don't see it on there. Oh yeah, that one. Click on that. Scroll down. Keep going. Oh, this is just the original contract. So we had originally budgeted around 79,000, 75, 79,000. This job came in at around 55,000. This is gonna add another couple grand, but it's the same funding source, Crime Control and Prevention District, if you approve the change order, so we can add those ports.
I make a motion that we allow the police department to purchase additional data ports for the newly installed dispatch consoles in the amount of $2,000 or less.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consider an act on approving the city to hold an online auction through the Renee Bates auctioneers to sell off old, broken, or no longer used city property, and any remaining property that does not sell will be properly disposed of.
So this is just a customary item whenever we want to do a city auction. I believe the last auction we did was in 2019, and we are ready for another auction. You have the entire list there of all the items that the departments have compiled, and we put it together on that spreadsheet for you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I make a motion that we approve the city to hold an online auction through Renee Bates auctioneers to sell off old, broken, or no longer used city property, and any remaining property that does not sell will be properly disposed of.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we go to consider an act on approving the police chief to accept a military decommissioned armored storage unit and 2 generators from the Defense Logistics Agency 1033 program via the Texas Law Enforcement Support Office, and adapt it for law enforcement use by expending up to $15,000 from the Federal Drug Seizure Fund.
Okay, so this item is for what you're seeing up on the screen. These units will not actually cost us any money. They just cost us to get them shipped down and put into place. So this storage unit you see here is actually an armored type storage unit, which is great. We plan on maybe using that to help put some evidence in. For example, if we have a murder case, we're required, I think, to hold that evidence for like 99 years or whatever after conviction. So we have to have a place for storage for some of this evidence that we have compiling in our evidence room currently. This is the solution. It will go where you saw the old Connex box, which is now gone. I'm in the process of getting that entire back area paved. We're paying Public Works to clean up that area, pave it to provide more parking and just better appearance. And this box will hopefully sit on it if you approve. The 2 generators, which are in the last picture above, these are just portable generators. There's 2 of them that we will use for our dive and rescue team to power some of their equipment when they're out in the field, either training or on an exercise or a real situation. And they have a trailer that will house these generators, and it will go on our program for all of our equipment. It's called a readiness program, where we inspect the equipment regularly and run it and operate it.
I'll make a motion that we allow the police chief to accept a military decommissioned armored storage unit and 2 generators from the Defense Logistics Agency 1033 program via the Texas Law Enforcement Support Office, and adapted for law enforcement use by expending up to $15,000 from the Federal Drug Seizure Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to city council or staff announcements.
Yes. There are 2 items under staff announcement. One is a council workshop meeting on August 24th. I want to talk about an RV license fee. Also want to discuss, but I want to bring to your attention at this time, that in the budget, instead of the capital expenditure items that I'm going to refer to being brought to the budget, the capital improvement budget, the CIP, there would be items for the Public Works Department, the Police Department, the Fire Department, and the wastewater treatment plant. We're going to go through a tax note process for that. And at the meeting on the 24th, we'll have Mark McCliney or Andrew Friedman here to discuss that in more detail. It takes some burden off the budget and still allows us to get items that are very important to the city for the various departments for them to continue their work. That'll be discussed in more detail at the meeting on the 24th. So I wanted to bring that to your attention at this time so you know what that particular item is about. The other item is the environmentally sensitive issue, sensitive area, ESA board. This is dealing with the wetlands mitigation. A board is part of that, an ESA board. If you could, by the next meeting, we need 5 members of that board and 2 alternates. And if you can be thinking of, if you have 2 names, that's fine, but if all of you don't have 2 names, that's also fine, but we need at least 1 from each of you, and if a couple of you have 2 additional names, they could be alternates also. This board is required for this particular body, meaning for the ESA sensitive ESA board as part of the wetlands mitigation legislation that you have approved already, I believe, at the last meeting. So those are the 2 items under staff announcement, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Have a
Will
question.
these board members need to be residents?
That's what I was going to ask. Do they have to live in Aransas Pass?
Actually, what the ordinance does, they have to be residents of Oasis, San Patricia, or Aransas County.
Oh, bingo.
Right.
That gives us a lot bit more choices.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot more choices.
Thank you, Mayor.
Perfect.
So, those are the items. I just want to bring those to your attention, Mr. Mayor and Council, under staff announcements.
Have a question also. The meeting on the 24th, is that at 5:30?
Work sessions, we try to put them at 5:30.
5:30, okay.
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
To your 5:30 question, Central Time.
Very good. I was hoping it wasn't Pacific.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay, we're gonna go to citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for the matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent
Yeah, boy.
meeting.
Thank you.
We're going to stay in here.
Yes.
Any comments?
We have citizen comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any citizen comments?
Any comments?
Oh, come on.
No?
Anybody
Anything
want to start a
online?
bonfire?
Okay, now we're gonna go into executive session, section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act, to meet with the attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the state part of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to Com Brown Harbor lease, Justin Chandler, Com Brown Harbor Corps of Engineer permit, potential lease at Com Brown Harbor, Association Against Annexation Abuse versus City of Aransas Pass, cause number 8-19-0169-CB-B in the 156 Judicial District Court of Aransas County, Texas. The State of Texas, ex-real Association Against Annexation Abuse versus City of Aransas Pass, Texas, cause number 19-0368-CB-C in the 343rd Judicial District Court in Aransas County, Texas.
Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to vote.
Thanks again, Juanice, for all your work. Myron, thank y'all.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna go to the little girl.
hell, or?
I brought a cold bottle of water, but I can't drink it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably has some ice in it now.
I'm going to bring coffee next time.
We're gonna reconvene in open session
remember
to
that.
consider to take action, if any, on any item discussed in executive session at 9 o'clock.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we enter a lease agreement with Justin Chandler for an area of land on Calm Brown Harbor with a legal description being .298 acres of leased land out of an unplatted portion of Calm Brown Harbor out of Survey 650, the Aransas Pass Channel and Dock Company patent A-2521, Nueces County, Texas, and being described in Refugio script file 001729, recorded at the General Land Office, Austin, Texas, and being out of 2 tracts described in the deeds of the record of the City of Aransas Pass under volume 767, page 166, and volume 1463, page 858, deed records of Nueces County, Texas.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I make a motion, we enter into a lease agreement with Justin Chandler for an area of land on Calm Brown Harbor with a legal description being .323 acres of land leased out of unplatted portion of Calm Brown Harbor out of Survey 650, the Aransas Pass Channel and Dock Company patent A-2521, Nueces County, Texas, and being described as Refugio script file 001729, recorded in the General Land Office, Austin, Texas, and being out of 2 tracts described in the deed record to the City of Aransas Pass under volume 767, page 166, and volume 1463, page 858, deed records of Nueces County, Texas, being 2 tracts described under document 200800811, official records of Nueces County, Texas.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, guys.
Takes care of that.